Instant coffee. Yeah.
Okay, we're let's okay, we'll page 132 in the book. So I think today we will conclude in Lava Borer of selecting, and we'll use some of the examples that we're speaking about again. So separating a mixture. So speaking in a fruit bowl, if you have the same species, which are apples, but they're different kinds of apples, is that considered a mixture? In other words, in the bowl, you have Macintosh apples, and you have the Granny Smiths, and you have, I don't know, those who different, the green ones and the yellow ones and the red ones, they're all apples. They're all in a bowl. Could you separate them or take out what you don't want from this bowl?
Yeah, I would think that if it's something that you don't like and you do like, then it's separation.
That's correct. Okay. So it is considered a separation, even though they're all apples, but they're different kinds of apples with different tastes, different colors that makes them different. So, but if you do have the same, you have a bowl, but you have all the same apples, all the same quality, the same, but some are bigger and some are smaller. And you want to give to your guest, want to give a bowl with the bigger apples. Can you take out the smaller apples?
No, but you could take out the bigger ones, right?
So in this case, since they're all the same, they're just bigger and smaller, so it would be permissible to take out the small ones and serve the big ones because they're all the same apple. It's not the same.
It's the same, but not the size.
The size would be permissible. So size is permissible if it's the same. So you can take out all the small ones. You'll only leave the big ones that's what you want, even though the small ones you don't want now. Same thing would be with portions of fish. You have big portions, small portions. You want to take out all small portions because you want to only serve the big ones. That would also be permissible. However, different kinds, different tastes would be a mixture. Same thing in a fruit platter, in a cake platter. Different kinds of cakes, even though they're all cake, but there are different kinds of cake, and therefore you cannot separate them in different categories when putting them away. You could only take what you want and leave what you don't want behind when you're ready to eat it. Now, let's look at page 132, and you have a salt shaker. Salt shaker has on top of the salt shaker, it has something that looks like a strainer. What is the purpose of the top of the salt shaker that has all the holes inside? Why does the salt shaker have holes on the top?
It's to prevent
You have a salt shaker.
The rice.
Okay, so let's look now. It's a just clean, regular salt, clean salt, and no lumps. It's just salt, nice salt. Why do they put a top with holes in it?
So
Why?
There's so much pouring.
Okay, what you want to do is just sprinkle it evenly. Without the top, it would just pour the salt. So its purpose is not to strain the salt, but to even it out. That is permissible. You brought up, Lee, there is, what did you say is in the salt shaker?
Rice.
There's rice in the salt shaker. Does anyone have rice in their salt shakers? Now, why do they put, those who do have the rice in the salt shaker, why do they put the rice in? Why do they put it in? Okay, so the rice is a moisture absorber. Some places, especially in the summer, many places that's very humid. What will happen to this, right? The salt will become a lump of salt. In order to prevent it, so they will put in rice. The rice absorbs all the moisture, and when you pour the salt, it's going to remain as fine. can you use this salt shaker on Shabbos? And the answer is?
No.
The answer is no, because what is now this top is doing? What is it doing? It's filtering, right? It's keeping the rice behind and having your salt come out. So a regular salt shaker, there's no problem. It's only there to spread out the salt. A salt shaker with the rice cannot be used on Shabbos. Now, the same would be with something that has a strainer on the end, and some tea, if you use loose tea, some of the teapots have a strainer on the end that when you're going to be pouring the tea, the strainer is going to be holding the tea leaves back from going into your water. Can you use this teapot? One that has a strainer at the end, loose tea inside this teapot. No. So we spoke about this last week, that usually the tea leaves will settle on the bottom. They usually don't, if you don't shake it around, it's not going to be moving around. The tea leaves will be on the bottom. When you pour gently, only the liquid will come out. The tea leaves will not go up to the top. They will stay on the bottom. And therefore, if you're pouring and there's no tea leaves coming out because it's still enough liquid inside that the tea leaves stay on the bottom. So you could use this because it's not filtering anything, because the tea leaves did not get to the top and the strainer is not holding them back. So as long as you have a lot of liquid inside the teapot, so then you are allowed to use it because it's not, you're going to make sure that there's still liquid with the covering the tea leaves, so you're not straining out separating out the tea leaves. Everything is still in solution, everything is still there, you're just pouring off the top. So you could only use it under those circumstances. Also, we could not also use a strainer when you're pouring out, let's say you do have soup with vegetables that you don't want, you want to have clear soup. And the vegetables that are inside are very small vegetables. It's not a big carrot, a big potato. We spoke about that last week, that they're very discernible. It's not considered a mixture, just like the eggs in the water. The portions of chicken that are big in the soup, those are not considered a mixture. However, when we have the small vegetables, that you don't want them when you are you want to have the soup. So what could you do? Again, you could pour out the soup, and as long as there's still soup with a mixture, you're pouring out the top, you haven't gotten to the bottom, that is permissible. What you could not do is take the lid and put it at the end of your pot. And as you're pouring it, now your lid is serving as a tool to keep the vegetables in the soup. Then you're separating with a tool, even though you're taking the soup that you want, but you are using a tool to make this separation. The tool cannot be used. The using a filter for water. What's the issue? So first of all, why are we using a filter with the water?
Filtering the bath.
Huh?
You're filtering the bath.
Okay, now, okay. In some countries, the water system is full of sand. And if you would not have the filter, you would get sand in your water. Does anyone live in such a country? At one time, we had girls from South America, and they did have that issue where they were living, the filtering system of the main water was not good. So I asked them, what do you do for Shabbos? They say before Shabbos, they fill up gallons of water for drinking water, and that is the water that they're going to be using for drinking. They will do that before Shabbos. They have their Shabbos, storage, and they do that. Now, here in New York, did you notice what's at the end of most filters in the kitchens? There is something that's called a strainer. If you take off the bottom of the faucet, you'll see there's screens and different layers of screens.
That's for the
And so-
pressure, that's for the
Huh?
pressure, no?
What?
Isn't that for the pressure of the water?
No.
Like
Oh,
a
so
shower?
some people will do that for the pressure, so it shouldn't come out as a splash. Rather, it should, again, it would be the same as your
Shower.
the showers would do that, and then it would be the same as your salt shaker. It's spreading out the water evenly. But here you have screens. It's not, that is not its purpose. Its purpose is to filter the water. Can we use the sink? They do the sink on Shabbos, and I think all houses in Crown Heights have this at the end of their
Right,
faucet.
You're taking the good. Right? 'Cause
You're holding back, but you're using it with a tool. Again, the same thing when we spoke about pouring our salt with rice. We're getting the rice, but you're using a tool to keep the rice back. So now we're using a tool to keep to filter our water.
I guess
So-
you can't.
So what does everyone do here? Did you go to a house on Shabbos and they told you can't use the faucet to get a drink of water?
They get, how does it call when you ask a rabbi to do something? When you want long, a longer shade
By So what is the answer? There must be an answer to this, because everyone does use it, and no one makes an issue of it, and no one tells you, be careful when you're going to go to the faucet, don't use the water for drinking. No, we have a special pitcher for that. No one tells you that. Why is that?
So you are allowed to.
Yes, you are.
Because you need water?
No, we have the same thing that in South America, they need water also. They said they could only have water that was prepared before Shabbos. They cannot use the water that's going to be filtered out with this kind of same filter, same thing. It's going to keep the sand out. Someone mentioned something, and I didn't let them develop it. Let's get an answer. Why is it permissible? Again, let's go again. What is borer? Borer is separating a mixture, wanted and unwanted.
It's not a
Okay,
mixture, no, it's not a mixture.
so
Water's not a mixture.
what's with our water?
I guess it depends what's in the water that you're.
Very good. So now the matter is what you're doing, why you're straining the water.
Right.
So why are we straining the water?
I don't know what's.
Now,
in the
let's say if it would be all, so here in New York,
For safety.
if you were to take off the filter from the end of the faucet, would you drink that water?
Shouldn't, because it's toxic.
Is it? Are you
Is-
allowed
is
to
it?
you would drink it?
Is it?
Yeah, I think you
What?
can.
Has
Huh?
like chlorine, no?
We drink our water in New York is very safe.
There's no chlorine?
You don't taste the chlorine. You don't taste the chlorine, huh?
Maybe you don't taste it, I don't know.
You don't taste the chlorine. Look, the answer would be if one would drink the water as is, without the filter, you would still drink it. It is usable, it is fine. You just want to improve it. Improving is permissible because it is not considered wanted and unwanted, it's considered water. And in that case, you are permitted to improve the water. So if you are taking out the chlorine, unless it's so strong that you can't drink it because it has that, you taste the chlorine and you would not want to drink it.
Right, cool.
So in that case, that putting that through the filter would not be permissible on Shabbos because it's an actual change that you can't drink the water as is. You do have the filters that are called. You have here a pitcher of water that has a
Yeah.
filter inside called Brita here.
So those you
So
can use?
so this you could use as well. Because if again this is something that you could drink without it, it's
Right,
just
and
improving it. It's just making it
The
better.
water from the sink that you would be able to
Yes,
drink, you put it in that,
Yes.
then that filter you could use.
yes, you could use that, right, as well. The same thing would also be putting through a strainer. So in this case, it's putting through a strainer. You have the apple juice that is called apple cider. Apple cider is cloudy. You have the apple juice is clear. Can you put the apple cider through a strainer on Shabbos through a filter? Does everyone drink apple cider here?
Yes.
And no one is going to say, "I'm choosing apple cider. Please give me apple juice. I don't want apple cider." Everyone here would drink the apple cider. It's a natural drink.
The apple cider.
I'm saying everyone will drink it, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying so. Since everyone drinks it, it's a normal drink. If you choose to filter it, it is permissible.
So you're just improving.
It's improving, right? Now, with some have questions about this next type of orange juice. You have orange juice that is clear orange juice, then you have the one with pulp. It's called homemade. They sell it, homemade orange juice. Can you filter the homemade orange juice?
Yeah, because you could eat them.
Okay, so now again, it's being sold in the stores. People will definitely choose it because it has all the pulp in it. They like to have that. Again, filtering that would also be permissible. Now, what happens if someone is so finicky that they would not drink it with the pulp? And so then they would not.
For them.
But for them would be a personal thing. They would not be able to do that.
So what's the difference?
If someone does filter it for themselves, you could drink. You can drink whatever they filtered for
So
themselves.
what's the difference between a soup that, let's say there's, carrots, and today I don't want carrots, but I usually eat
But right
carrots.
now, that you cannot, and also the one who's very finicky also cannot. Person who would not drink.
No, I'm saying, but if just today you don't want the carrots,
No, so
you
it goes-
could eat the carrots.
No, it goes at the time when you're. It goes at the time it's waste or not waste. It would be, Now, if there is something that is in the liquid that is floating around and you want it out, there are two answers to this. So let's say, what is floating on top of the soup? There is parsley leaf that is floating on top of the soup. You don't want that parsley leaf. We usually give another example. They always give the example of a fly in your soup. That's the fly. So nowadays, someone has a fly in their soup. What do you do in the weekdays?
Throw it out.
There we go. So then question would not come up because no one would want to remove the fly because no one is going to have that soup anyway. But at the time when the question was asked, people would, so when I give the example, I say you're sitting in the sukkah, a piece of schach falls into your soup, or I told you a parsley leaf that's floating on top of the soup. So during the weekdays, how would you get it out?
With a spoon.
With a spoon, you take it out with a spoon. That's what you do in the weekdays. So it's the unwanted from the wanted. The parsley leaf, you don't want. On Shabbos, what would we do? How do we have our soup without the parsley leaf floating on top?
You take it with your hand.
You're taking what you don't. So if you take the parsley leaf and you put it in your mouth, then it's a wanted.
What if you take a little bit of the soup, like a bigger bowl, and then it's also wanted and unwanted?
Okay, so now the conventional answer that is, you take a spoon with some of the soup in it, the parsley leaf will be floating around in the spoon with the soup, and remove that. The Alter Rebbe in Shulchan Aruch does say that you could do that, and in the Siddur, where he wrote an update to many of the halachas, where in Shulchan Aruch he writes on a more lenient way, and he in siddur, he is more strict about it. So when it comes to something that is floating in your liquid, the Alter Rebbe in the Shulchan Aruch says, take a spoon, take some of the soup with the unwanted, and you are not separating the mixture because you still have the unwanted together with the soup. Just like we spoke about, there's a leaf, there's a bug on the leaf, you tear off part of the leaf. So you're doing. But here he says, are you going to, if you were to get rid of the parsley leaf from the spoon, would you eat the rest of the soup? So with the parsley leaf, the answer may be yes. But now we're going back to the fly in the soup. Are you going to be, if in the weekdays, if you were to take the spoon with the fly and remove the fly, would you have the rest of the soup? So what is this? What is the soup together with the fly? Waste. So the Rebbe says, don't go that way. I guess, unless it would be something that, so he says the way that he suggests in the siddur is pour from the soup until what you don't want goes out. You could blow the parsley leaf to the end of the bowl and then pour it. What you're doing is, it would be just like a magician. You ever have someone who wants to pull the tablecloth and everything stays on. So he says what you're doing is you're pouring, keeping what you want, and what you don't want is left behind in the air. That would be that's how I would explain it. So he says what you have in what you're going to remain with is what you want. So you take what you want, soup, the parsley leaf is going to stay there, and then it's going to fall down because it can't stay up in the air. But this is the reasoning is, so the Alter Rebbe says that you have something that you want that is in your liquid on top, pour and take what you want, and what falls out is being left behind. So that's his. So that would be the way to go with our something that's inside. Now you have your vegetables that have dirt on them. You have a celery. The celery will have sand. Some of the vegetables have these particles that you want to clean. Can you take these vegetables and put them into a basin, put them into a bowl filled with water, and you put in the vegetables, shake them around, whatever is on top is going to go into the water. Can you do this on Shabbos, Yom Tov? What is the issue over here?
I'm not sure you're gonna kill the bugs.
But
You're gonna kill the bugs too.
well, it's bugless. It's only sand.
Oh.
Sand now. So there are no bugs. They're not drowning the bugs. Okay, so that's found. So now, what is the issue here? We put them in a bowl, basin full of water, and we agitate it, rub them around. Now you have the clean vegetables, and can they be done on Shabbos? Why, yes.
Well, I guess not. Because it's not. Wait, what are you asking? I guess not because it's not something that you would eat with you wouldn't eat before.
What is the water doing for you?
Separating the.
It is your separator. Your water is now separating what's going to happen. Because you could have put it into water, either the unwanted is going to float to the top, or the sand is going to fall to the bottom. You're using your water as you're separating. You're using your water as your filter, your sieve, your means of separating, taking away the unwanted from the wanted, and having that away.
But
So-
under the water, when you do it with your hands, it's okay?
No, just the water is doing that. Even just putting it into water itself, the water is going to, that is the result that's
You
going
can
to.
wash vegetables on Shabbos.
So now,
Right,
so,
yeah.
so now we go to how do we clean our vegetable on Shabbos? And this is the same thing as I said, what you're holding in your hand is the wanted, and what goes away is the unwanted. Just like we spoke about pouring, what you hold in your hand is the wanted. So what, according to that, how do you clean your vegetable?
Like you hold it.
You hold it, you hold it under the sink. What you want is in your hand. What you don't want, you're leaving behind. It's being washed away, but you're technically, you are keeping what you want and taking it away from the unwanted, taking away from the faucet. There are those who are more strict about this, but the accepted practice is that we could wash our vegetables under the sink. Those who are more strict about it say, when could you, so as far as our class is concerned, we could wash our vegetables under the sink. There are those who are more strict, you might go to another community, and they'll say, no, you cannot wash the romaine lettuce that has the sand in them or whatever. Either they'll be concerned about, killing the bugs, if there are bugs there, whatever their concerns. So according to everyone, what would be permissible? According to what we learned today, tell me that we're going to be washing a tomato, and everyone will say you could wash this tomato. Everyone says it's fine. What would be the case? It's no question. Using what the principles that we've learned today.
What you say, you hold it in your hand.
Besides that, not everyone likes that.
Um,
Not everyone likes that. Let's go a reason
wash
what.
it before Shabbos.
No, you're washing it on Shabbos, and everyone says it's fine. I'll give you a hint. Why are we allowed to open the faucet on Shabbos and use the water from the faucet, even though it's going through a strainer, a filter, and everything else? When we say you're allowed to, because it is. There we go. Now, what kind of vegetables are we washing? That everyone says you could. Vegetables that look clean.
Yeah, like you would eat.
You would eat them as is.
You would eat it anyway.
Right. So you have tomatoes. Some of the tomatoes come in those little cellophanes that they look very clean, and still you will not take it from the cellophane and eat it. What you will do is you will rinse it under the faucet.
What if there's like sand all over?
Oh, so again, so in that case, so that would be depending on. So if it's a clean vegetable, a clean apple, you have the apples that are in your bowl, in your fruit bowl. Some people will not put in the fruit bowl without washing the apples first, your pears, anything that you get from the store, even though you could eat as is, but some people just, the fact that it's being handled, it's coming from the store, you will wash it. People
About touching pesticides.
pesticides, I'm saying, but these again are not things that people would say that, if a person doesn't know that it wasn't washed, they'll eat it. It looks clean. And so here again, most of the fruits and vegetables that we get are clean. Those who have the peels, so most of them are clean. Most people would eat them as with the peel as is, and so therefore rinsing them on Shabbos would be fine because we're just doing it for improvement. And so even those who are more strict about washing the vegetables under the sink that actually have sand in them, actually have dirt, so they would wash them as well. So again, in our community, we would put it under the sink, wash the vegetables. In some communities, they will do everything before Shabbos.
You cannot use, sometimes there are things that run like in a box with holes and only like drinks.
So if they are, you do have blueberries that are sold in containers that have holes in them. You have some of the tomatoes are sold with little boxes that are just very open. Again, if they are clean, you'd, you'd have to see, let's say, take the blueberries. You'd actually have to, there are some that are actually have to be washed in the weekdays. In the weekdays, I would, when I would take blueberries and put them, they look pretty clean. I put them in a bowl with water, and I see that there are all kinds of things that are floating around that are actually dirt. So unless they are clean to begin with, I mean, you'd have to know this brand, if it's a clean brand or not. If you know that it's a clean, the best is the tool, yes.
You
It's
have
a
to
strainer.
wash it in your hand.
Huh?
Again, you would have to take on Shabbos, the blueberries,
Out.
and wash it in.
That's correct.
Holding it.
That's correct. That's correct. So you cannot use the box as your filter because it is actually something that needs to be cleaned. So again, it matters how how they package it, how they what standards they use when they give it to the customer, to the buyer.
The only time you have to put it in your hand is when you,
When there's actually dirt.
when you what?
When there's actually dirt,
When there's actually dirt.
when you're concerned that
Really filthy.
when you're actually cleaning it.
When you can't eat it the other way.
That's correct. Now we have in our sink, we have a strainer on the bottom of the sink, right? Well, many places have in the kitchen sink, there's a strainer. Yes. What is its purpose?
To take all the garbage and throw it away.
That's right, and it shouldn't go down your kitchen drain because then it's going to clog your drain. Are you allowed to pour the remnants of your soup and everything else into your sink and have the strainer catch all of the food particles and everything else, that's pits and things that go into the sink? Is that an issue?
No, yes.
Is there an issue? Do we have to take the strainer out of the sink before Shabbos?
No.
Okay.
No, but you're not
that doesn't
gonna
make
drink the
you
water.
Huh?
You're not gonna drink the water.
Okay, purpose is not to get good and bad. Our purpose is not,
You're
is
wasting
to,
everything.
everything is going out. So in that case, its purpose is not to separate a mixture. Its purpose is it should not clog the drain. Everything is waste. So straining waste would be permissible. So you could keep your strainer in the bottom of the sink. Did you ever notice if there's a strainer in the bottom of the sink so that you go on Shabbos?
I'm
Never
always
noticed
doing
it,
the
huh?
dishes,
So how did you notice it? That there is.
I'm doing the dishes, so I'm the one to clean it too.
Okay, so you know that there is one, so you keep it, and because we do not, it's straining the waste from waste is not the melacha. Melacha is separating the bad, the good, or good from the bad, separating a mixture with a tool. In this case, you're not separating the good and the bad. It's all waste, and that is permissible. Removing something that has a stem. So hold on to the stem and pull away what you want. Let's take some of the fruits that have stems. Cherries have stems. Pull away the cherry. Instead of pulling off the stem, you can have two ways: pulling off the stem and throwing it away, by taking the cherry and then throwing this away. You've done the same thing, but the question is, what was the intention? Taking away the stem or taking away the fruit? Usually you can see it when it comes to a grape. You have the grapes on the stem, so you take the grapes on the stem. Usually in that case, so that's the same thing would be with any stem that you take the fruit from the stem when you want it. When you're ready to do it, you would not clean them. You would do it as you're
And then once let's say you have grapes and you take all the grapes from the stems and you put the stems in a plate. stuff so you can come with them.
Yes,
So you should do it and throw it straight into the garbage.
that's. The same idea is also if you have an apricot. Apricot has a pit inside that cannot be eaten. This is the apricot, this is the pit. Which way do we do it? Or
First try
But
though.
you eat it, no?
when you're eating it, so then there's no issue. When you're eating it, there's no issue. I'm speaking now, you're removing
But
it
then
up.
you're left
And
with
if
a
you,
pit.
if you leave a little bit of the apricot on the pit.
Yes, and then it's not muktzah, then it's fine. But I'm just saying, when you're pulling it out,
Who pulled it out? Who pulled it out?
if someone is, you're
Just
giving
the
it to
person.
you're giving it to a child.
Oh, like.
So You know what I'm saying, right, but
No,
I'm
because you can take it out.
I'm using the apricot because it's usually a pit that does not have any fruit left on it, it's a clean pit. So in that case, doing this way or that way would be, the others that have peaches have a pit that has always some peach on it. And you always have some with it. But when it comes to the apricot, it's a clean pit, so you take the apricot, put this away instead of. Okay, so, again, this is a malacha that's very, we don't want anyone to, become, stressed out from this, but just to being aware while you're doing it, so we do it the right way. It's one of the most, detailed malacha because everything, the fact that it's also not, exclusively with the food that grows from the ground. It's something that is also with utensils, putting away in the Chabad house. You have now piles of sforim. Could you put them away and sort them out? Take out all the sidurim, take away all the chumashim, and put them in their shelves. So what do? The permissible way would be
Take one at a time.
no.
Spread them all out.
No?
But what you could do is just take them at random and put them into the shelves without taking out all the chumashim and putting them in the chumashim section, take all this
Don't
little,
organize them.
don't organize them, don't not organize them, you just take as is,
And then
whatever
that's
comes to
after
you,
Shabbos.
and then after Shabbos, you'll sort it out, all the next minion will come and they'll find what it is. But if you like to keep them all in one place, so it would be after Shabbos that you would sort them out and put them in their proper shelves. Like this, you take them at random, whatever it is, and without being organized.
Same thing with utensils and clothes.
Same things on utensil closing, put them away. Okay. Now, homework is on Shabbos, be aware. That would be your homework. So try to see what everything that we've learned about, think about the sink, why, all these things that are
Well, I'm
white.
gonna tell my Christian house anyway, she doesn't use the filter or water for Shabbos.
Okay, so again, those who are strict about it.